Hi, welcome back to MovieMavericks. Today I will show you a movie called Time Trap. Spoilers ahead. Watch and enjoy. In the movie's first scene, a professor named Hopper is seen in the woods going through the contents of an abandoned van. He takes a book from it and checks the pictures to find a clue about what he's searching for. Then, he walks, alongside his dog named Boss, to a hole in the ground and checks it out. All he finds is nothing but a dark empty space inside. Boss starts barking as Hopper finds another hole. This time, it's a cave and he rushes to check it out. Getting to the cave, he finds a man frozen in time inside the cave. Hopper is tempted to walk into the cave but his instincts tell him not to. So, he gets back with Boss and drives back to town. On his way back, he phones one of his college students named Jackie and informs her of the development. He asks her to put a climbing pack together and also instructs her not to tell Taylor, who's another one of his college students and Jackie's friend. This is because Taylor would get upset over Hopper not taking him along on his adventure. Jackie nods in agreement and ends the call. A few hours later, Hopper arrives back home. Turns out Jackie's already told Taylor about Hopper's expedition. Taylor asks Hopper when their next expedition would be and Hopper tells him he's going back to the cave alone. This doesn't sit well with Taylor but he succumbs to his superior. A few days later, Professor Hopper drives back to the same place in the woods and prepares to explore the cave. He ties a long piece of rope to a rock and throws it down into the cave just in case something goes wrong. Then, he suits up and enters the cave. A few meters into the cave, Hopper comes across an invisible barrier and passes through it. Although he feels like he's entered another part of the world, which should get him worried, Hopper continues moving nonetheless. 2 days later, Hopper isn't back in the city. Taylor visits Jackie and tells her they have to get to the area in the woods to find Hopper. Jackie tells Taylor that they'd need a van or a car from someone, so she calls Kara, who has a crush on Taylor, and asks if they could borrow her father's 4x4 so they could use it on their next expedition. Seeing as Taylor's involved, Kara agrees to help out. In the next scene, Kara's half-sister, Vives, makes a video about her sister suddenly borrowing her father's car to go on an expedition for some guy she likes. Kara's father, Richard, hands the car over to her on the condition that Vives goes with them on their expedition. Up next, all four youngsters hit the road and stop to take Furby, Vives' chubby friend, along. When he joins the crew, they all continue the long drive to the cave. A few hours later, they all arrive at the abandoned van. They all check out the contents of the van and find a picture of the Hoppers there in the van. Just then, Taylor and Jackie realize that the professor came there to find his lost parents. Following their discovery, everyone offloads their stuff and takes some pictures up until Furby finds a rope line across the ground all the way to the cave Hopper found out about a few days back. Overridden by their curiosity, the whole crew enters the cave without thinking twice and finds some weird insect critters over there. The ropes keep going further. Jackie follows it and finds out the rope extends over a cliff. She preps to climb down and asks Taylor to tag along with her. Everyone gets back to the 4x4 and suits up on the climbing gear. Taylor, Jackie, Vives, and Kara all walk back into the cave to climb down, leaving Furby outside with a walkie-talkie to wait for their return. Little did they know their lives were about to change really fast. Kara gets cold feet but Taylor soon talks her into climbing down the cliff with them. A few minutes later, they all successfully rappel down to the cliff's bottom. On their way down though, they feel the same invisible boundary Hopper felt the first time he was there but continue their descent nonetheless. Just then, Hopper's seen in another part of the cave following the man frozen in time. Turns out the man started moving after he passed into the barrier. He walks a few meters into the cave and hears a girl screaming. So, he runs in the opposite direction, busts out of an exit in the cave, and finds his car all covered in vegetation, almost like it's been there for ages. It's nighttime and Hopper calls for his dog and rushes to find his car. He soon finds out his car's long gone and he walks further into the woods. He finds a bag that belongs to Jackie and finds out they may be in the cave with him. He was right. Hopper takes out his glow sticks and continues back into the cave to find his students. He keeps dropping his glow sticks until, at one point, one of them suspends in the air. Hopper enters the boundary yet again and finds the stick on the ground. Meanwhile, Taylor and the others split up to explore the giant cave. Jackie and Vives walk deeper into the same cave and hear a girl screaming again. They run back to Taylor and say they have to get back to Furby. However, Taylor tells them they've come too far to just leave because of some noise. Eventually, Jackie volunteers to climb back up the cliff and get back to their car. Taylor pulls her up the rope but the rope gives out and snaps, sending Jackie falling into Taylor and breaking her ankle. This makes Taylor and the others think Furby cut the rope. They try communicating with Furby but there's no response. Then, They contemplate climbing without ropes. Before they decide on what to do, they hear noises a few meters away from them. They try phoning Furby again, and this time, someone responds slowly with a distressed voice, claiming to be Furby and asking them for help. Taylor and his friends decide to check out what's up with the cave. Taylor, Kara, and Vives then suit up and walk forward to try and understand what's the deal with the cave as they leave Jackie behind. The trio continues walking into the cave until they come across a room in the cave with a hole above it. Kara climbs up a rock in the room to check out the hole above it. As she does so, she looks to the other side and finds Furby's lifeless body. She quickly tells Taylor to take Vives away from the body so she doesn't see it. Taylor takes Vives away and finds Jackie crawling her way to them. When everybody's reunited, they all find out Furby's dead. They all cry and wonder what happened up above. As they search through Furby's things for answers, they find his camera and check through the footage there. They find out that they've been in the cave for days, even though it appears they've only been there for minutes. Furby's footage shows them he's had to survive for a few days as he waits for them to come back. When he gets tired and weary of waiting, he decides to climb down Hopper's rope above the hole to look for his car keys. He gets to the rope and starts climbing down. On his way down, he looks up to the sky through the hole and finds time going seriously fast above him. Before he makes sense of anything, the rope snaps, and Furby falls to his death. After watching the footage, everybody tries to make sense of their situation. They all get into an argument until Kara decides to free climb her way out of the hole and back to the surface. Taylor gives Kara a GPS beacon to activate once she gets to the surface. Kara collects the beacon, ties up her hair, and begins climbing. As she gets higher and higher, she tells Taylor that she feels the invisible barrier again. Just then, she climbs up the hole and finds everything gone. The whole world was a desert now with no sign of life or even plants. Kara activates the beacon and runs a little forward, only to find out that the apocalypse might have already happened. Nevertheless, she keeps trying to find a signal for the beacon with her and climbs higher ground. She finds a weird triangular satellite thing suspended in the air and gets scared. Kara climbs back down the hole and tells Taylor about what she found above. Jackie and the others don't believe her, so she shows them footage of her recording when she was up above. Jackie, Vives, and Taylor all watch the footage in shock. In Taylor's recording, Kara only went up the hole for 2 seconds. Kara says she was up there for about 30 minutes. Reality dawns on all of them when they realize time gets really slow in the cave. This means, spending an hour in the cave is equivalent to spending a few years, if not several seasons, on the surface. Jackie then connects all the dots and confirms Hopper's prediction in one of his classes. According to him, the fountain of youth is there in the cave. That would explain why time is too damn slow in the cave. Taylor and the others then decide they have to find a way out of the cave. They check Furby's video footage again and find out he didn't die immediately after the call. Instead, he was the one who answered Taylor's call earlier and asked for their help. After hanging up on Taylor and the rest, the video shows a Neanderthal crawling on all fours to Furby's position. He checks out Furby's bag and bashes Furby's head, and this kills him immediately. After watching the footage, they all get the memo that there's probably a band of cavemen crawling the cave somewhere. Kara decides to free climb through the hole again to fix another rope to the edge. As she climbs up, Vives and Jackie check out Furby's footage and find out that they've been there for hundreds, if not thousands of years. As the reality of their situation dawns on them, a long metal thing reaches from the sky, passes through the hole, and pins itself on the ground. Then, it morphs into a ladder that Kara climbs up. As she does so, she sees another person climbing down the ladder fully suited with a futuristic suit and armor. This strange suited human is 8 feet tall and highly trained. When he touches the ground in the cave, a Neanderthal man attacks him. The man successfully defends himself and handcuffs the Neanderthal to the ground. Jackie, Kara, Vives, and Taylor run through the stalactite and stalagmite cave seeking refuge from the 8-foot giant calmly pursuing them. They run through a pathway and appear in another part of the cave. There, they see fire on torches illuminating the pathway through the entire cave. They look down and find the freshly dead body of Hopper's mother. Unknown to them, 3 cavemen were in front of them checking out a human body. When they see them, it's already too late. Taylor acts like a man and allows the ladies to get to safety as he fights the 3 cavemen. A short but heated fight ensues between Taylor and the Neanderthal. However, Taylor gets killed in action and the cavemen continue their way into the tunnels. When they're gone, Kara rushes and sees her high school crush dead. She cries her eyes out and begs him to come back to life. Just then, the fully suited 8-foot man walks in and fills a vial with water from the fountain of youth which was a few meters in front of them. When he's finished, he picks Taylor's body up and dips it in the murky water. While he does so, a caveman passes by to attack them. The giant human attacks the caveman and fights it. Meanwhile, Taylor has revived again and holds Kara away from the fight. More Neanderthals attack the masked giant, but he holds them off. Amidst the fight, a caveman removes the giant's mask, causing him to suffocate as he couldn't breathe in Earth's air. With the help of Kara, the masked giant knocks out all the cavemen and puts them to sleep. After the fight, they tend to the suffocating giant. In the meantime, a green light shines through the hole opening into the cave floor as Kara, Taylor and the others try to find out what year their masked giant was from. The giant pulls up a news hologram from his knee. The news broadcast was a missing person report with Kara's father, Richard, telling the general public about it and begging them to help find his daughter. Following the news broadcast, the giant also shows them another broadcast informing Taylor and Kara that the Earth has been rendered useless for any life. As a result, humans have transported themselves to space using a hyper-accelerator called the Ark, which was 15 miles long and 2 miles wide. After hearing all the news, they all realize they just might be stuck in the cave forever, unless they do something about it. As they contemplate on the next thing to do, Kara finds Hopper's bag on the ground. They retrieve and decide they have to rescue Hopper before leaving. Taylor picks up a torchlight and goes looking for Hopper. On the way, he finds different markings on the cave walls and admires them until they hear a familiar sound. He turns his flashlight to the sound's direction and sees a cavewoman feeding some kind of liquid to a bunch of wounded cavemen. Taylor runs forward and finds Professor Hopper lying on the ground, wounded. He tries tending to his wound when he sees something that catches his eye. This time around, he sees a visible turquoise barrier. Beyond it is a war happening right at that moment, frozen in time. Hopper tells him the barrier houses the Fountain of Youth and Taylor walks forward. However, Hopper warns him not to get there and go back to his friends. Taylor asks Hopper to stay alive long enough to get some of the healing water to him. Hopper, however, tells Taylor to leave without him. Taylor runs back to his friends. Meanwhile, the wounded cavemen from earlier get healed from the liquid the cavewoman gave them as they get back up to attack. Hopper, who's laying down a few meters away from them, aims his gun at them and fires it. Taylor and the others quickly run to the cave's opening and deploy the ladder thing from the giant futuristic man. Then, they climb as fast as they can to the opening. The opening is covered by water and Kara is sucked in there by unknown people. This leaves Taylor and the rest screaming for help. The Neanderthals at the bottom remove the rod supporting the ladder and renders the ladder useless. This causes them to fall to their death. As they fall, time freezes and Kara extends ropes into the hole opening and pulls Taylor, Vives, and Jackie to the other side. When they're safely on the other side, Kara goes back for Hopper and Furby. In the next scene, Furby and Hopper wake up in a tub filled with water. They look around to find any signs of life. Just then, Kara and the others walk in dressed in black robes. Also, Hopper's sister, mother, and father also wake up in a tub near Hopper and are just as confused as to where they are. In the final moments of the movie, Kara and the others greet Hopper and the other new arrivals to tell them they are now in the Ark. If you enjoy the video, please press the like button, and don't wait to subscribe to the channel and press the bell icon for more amazing recaps in the future.